Yeah, I'm feeling connected to my higher self. I always seem to find this version when I'm by myself. I had no problem being alone, but they tell me every king needs a throne. But I don't want no fancy chair crown, I want a home. Thought you wanted.
Mic check, mic check. We're back. Julio V checking in from the 203. I'm with my man, Matty Ice, episode 28. And you know what, Matty Ice? We're doing this episode just you and I today. I know the fans look forward to guests, but today it's Julio and Ice. It's the Julio and Ice Pod, so we're just going to do it between me and you, baby. How we doing?
I'm good with that. It's very cold. I feel like it's deja vu. Very cold Sunday. It's like 9 degrees outside.
Yeah, the nipples can freeze. The nipples will freeze if you go out there.
Band-Aids on those Band-Aids.
Maddie's coming back from COVID. Talk to us a little bit about that, man. I know I put your business out in blast earlier.
It's all right.
How you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I feel like no matter how much precautions you take, that some people at this point are just going to get it. And I could say that it wasn't that bad. It was mild. And I know everybody's doesn't deal with the same things. Everybody has a different scenario. So I just hope that, the people out there that if you do get it, that you kind of have the experience I did, which was like having a cold. And then it's over with now. So hopefully back to more normal life and not really worrying about it as much. But it is what it is, man. It sucks. It's the reality. I just want to get to a point where I feel like that's all, like, I know at work it is. It's like everything. That's all we talk about, man.
Yeah.
And I just, oh man, it'd be so nice just to get back to not thinking about stuff like that. So,
were you worried about you and your physical health, or just the ones around you, more or less?
100%. I mean, it is weird when you hear it, like, when they, I get tested at work. So I guess my first reaction was like, it wasn't like, oh shit, me. It was more like, oh shit, who the hell have I been around? Because that you don't want to be the person, like, and that's why I think has been the issue with this whole COVID thing, is that like people don't understand, like, I'm a pretty healthy person, so I didn't really think I was at risk. It's more of other people. And that was the first thought in my mind. But like I said, it's not ideal, but
hey,
turn the page.
You turn the page, and thank God we're through the screen. I feel protected. Don't worry about it. Well, no, I'm kidding. All jokes aside, man, I'm really happy. I'm happy you're okay. You always seem to be in good spirits. I mean, you look the same. You don't look any different.
That's
baby.
good.
So
that's good.
I'm glad that you and your family and everybody's okay. The little dog okay over there? Your little doggy is fine. He didn't catch it.
Yeah,
no good. Symptoms.
Yeah, I guess I got lucky too, because if this was, I want to say, well, last year I guess there was no vaccines too, but like they changed the quarantine thing, so I actually can go back to school on Monday.
Tomorrow.
Which is nice. Yeah, tomorrow. Because I think last year, I'm pretty sure the quarantine rules, or even recently, I don't remember when the CDC changed it, but I'm not saying that they're right to change it or whatever, but if I think I'd have been out for like at least 10 to 14 days, I think.
Yeah. Which
would, for what I'm doing right now in the middle of the season, would suck. So
the players I know the CDC, the players they still have the 7-day return to play protocol. Is it 5 or?
It technically, again, this is why this whole thing is crazy, because everybody's rules are different. At least at my school, if a kid gets COVID, they're out 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can't, and they have to get like a doctor's note to return depending on how their symptoms were. So, yeah, which to me makes more sense. You're protecting the kid. Parents get pissed like, oh, well, at this place it's only 5. It's like, well, I know, we're doing this because we, are concerned about your child, and it sucks. Like, we've dealt with it, and that's why the beginning of the season for me in January when we first started playing was a disaster, because I just had multiple kids each week have it. So our numbers just were really low. But knock on wood, we've been pretty good, except for me, obviously. With the kids, though, I mean, it's been pretty stable. But yeah, so they'd be out 10, which, I mean, that sucks for a kid, because especially right now, if a kid on my team gets it, they're going to miss a handful of games that they don't get to get back. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're at this point in this pandemic where like I'm hopeful that we're almost at the end, but could be wrong. Who knows? I've been wrong for how many years now? We've been
I
doing the
mean,
same thing.
I think the sensitivity of COVID right now has kind of like fluctuated because I just
Hmm.
saw something about the Super Bowl, how there's no
It's,
mandates,
it's
right?
crazy. It's crazy.
Right?
But I also think we have to get to a point where, again, I hate when I sound like this 'cause I'm not a doctor, but we have to get to a point where we're back to somewhat normal life. We can't live like this. And the mask thing and all, like everything, it just seems kind of like, dude, I wear my mask all the time. How did I get COVID? Like at school? I think I got it at school because I didn't do anything the weekend before. So it's like your mind starts going crazy, like, oh, how did I get it? And then I'm like, you know what? I probably got it at school and I was wearing a mask. So it's like, it's not, the mask thing isn't, set in stone. Like it's going to fully protect you. I'm vaccinated too. So it's, what I'm saying? It's like, just like everything in life, you're probably going to eventually get it. And if you take the right steps, hopefully it's just what I had, like a cold. And we
You're
move
doing the
on.
right thing.
Yeah, we move on. You can only do the right thing, and then that's it. Like shit happens, life happens. But I just think we have to get back. We're just too much in this crazy cycle of just like, hysteria sometimes. And I just hope that, when people make decisions, make logical decisions, things that actually make sense. Like for example, there's some schools right now, like it makes like at least my job harder. It's just like we got to figure out like, oh, can people go to the games? And I'm like, how are you putting the kids at risk if a parent is sitting in the stands watching the game?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. Or like, oh, we can only have these spectators go to a game. And then I'm like, what? Why? Because the home team's spectators don't have COVID, but the away teams do. You know what I'm saying? There's just no logic. Like if you have a gym that's like really small and you can't like there's just no spacing, yeah, and you want to do that, totally fine. That's logical. It's just it's when the logic isn't brought into the equation. I'm just like, well, why are we making this decision? Based on what?
Yes, I agree. The decisions being made are kind of just on the fly. I mean, from my perspective, it's the same thing at the high school level too. It's the same thing. It's like, all right, this week we're doing 62% capacity. Like, where did you get that number
and
from?
who's doing
How did you do that? And who's doing that? Exactly.
Yeah. Or I've seen like other schools, other like secondary schools, like from where I am, private schools, like they'll be like, oh, you can only come to the game if you're vaccinated. So I asked one of the ADs and I was like, how do you mandate that? Like, what are you checking vaccine cards? And like, no, it's just more of like, we expect like the person's being truthful and honest, like, Boy Scout
policy.
Boy Scout honors. And I was just like, so then why even say it? Like, that's kind of just stupid.
Yeah.
Like, that's just really dumb. I just think like there's no point of then writing that and like that's your policy if you're not going to actually hold people. It's like how I've told you about how I feel about kids wearing masks playing basketball. Oh, if you're going to make them wear a mask, put the goddamn mask on your face and enforce it. Or don't have them wear it. Because I watch the kids all the time. Nobody wears it on their face. So it's like, what are we doing? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's where, to me, it's not logical at all. Yeah. If you're going to do one thing, do it. If you're not going to enforce it, then why even do it? Just so it's optics, so we can say they're wearing them on, it's just... Like that's the part that makes me like go batshit crazy.
I'm hoping that we get through it. I think eventually we'll get through it. I think what sucks for us, because we're basketball guys, it doesn't happen during the spring season.
I was gonna say it's affected the winter seasons the most because fall it felt more normal for me, right? The kids are outside, they don't have to wear masks, they only had to really wear it on the bus. It definitely felt more normal, where this is, again, yeah, I agree with you. It's my favorite time of the year, like season. It's my favorite season to coach. And, at the end of the day, I will be honest with you, though. When I'm coaching, I don't even realize I'm wearing a mask. I don't really care. Like, I don't think the kids do either. Like, we're just in the game, in the moment. So it's fun. I've been very grateful that we've been able to have a season and the kids been able to go out there and play. Like, it's just fun. Because I can't imagine as an eighth grader not having a season. I would have thrown a mask on my face. I wouldn't care. So... and I'm glad at the high school level, same thing. Like, I'm glad they're just playing and like fans are back in the state. Like, I've seen some public school games where they got the fans back, and it just seems, I don't know, more normal.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
We are.
Sure.
We are. And that's why I say you just gotta think positively going forward. Things will continually get better.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that that's getting better, and I'm glad that you're better, my man.
Yeah, of course.
We're moving on. Since you had some news, I actually put your news on blast. I wanna let our listeners know. Number one, I want to apologize to our listeners because we have been not as consistent as we were in the past. That's because our guests are in the midst of their seasons, and we're looking to get very entertaining guests, or guests that we value. So that's the first thing I want to say. I want to apologize. We will be more consistent. And number two, I want to share with our listeners that not only did Julio V turn 31 on Tuesday, it was my B-day on Tuesday, turned the big 3-1.
Jesus. It's hard too, because you know what though? It's crazy is that the only time I remember people's birthdays is because on Facebook, and you don't go to Facebook.
Yeah, I do. I'm just
happy belated. That's my bad. I got COVID brain.
Hey, listen, you're excused.
Yeah, I feel like before you keep going, I feel like any birthday after like 21, it don't matter.
It don't matter. That's what I was gonna add that on into the end. It's like it was just another day. I had a game that day to coach, so it wasn't anything. It was game day. I was locked in.
Yeah, I know I turned 30 and everybody I'm like, yo, I don't want to do anything for my birthday. I'm depressed.
There was a slight depression for me for about 3 hours.
Because you know what the first thing I think of, Julio, is I'm 1 year closer out of my prime.
Hey, they say your prime's 28 to 32, so we got
a good time, but the window's small.
Not only am I 31 though, Maddie, I want the viewers to know that Julio V is expecting a little Julio V come April.
That's big news. I didn't bring that news onto the podcast.
Yeah, I'm excited, man.
I'm excited for you, and your life's over after that, so congrats.
And then for the listeners listening, obviously, I told Maddie I didn't want to tell my friends too soon because I thought my friendships were going to be over. That's what everybody thinks whenever you have a child. It's that they're handcuffs or they're just in the way. But I've taken a different look at it. I'm excited. I'm excited to be a father. I didn't want to be an old pop. That was my thing. I didn't want to have my child at 35. So when I'm 45, they're 10 years old. That's the way I was looking at it. So yeah, I'm really happy. First week of April, he will be due. I don't want to tell the pod the name because that's the agreement I had with my lady, but I like the name. We like the name. Cool. He's a good blend. He's Spanish and he's going to be Italian. So he's a good blend. We got a good mix going.
Good skin color he's going to have.
Good skin color. And I'm excited. I think that's more or less my focus as of late too. Obviously doing things with my team and doing things with my family, my friends are important, but when something that monumental is coming your way, it's hard to think of anything else. So I've just been focusing on trying to be a good parent, trying to focus on what I want to do whenever they become old enough to play sports, because they're playing sports. There's just no doubt about it. Like, they're going to play sports. He's going to hoop. I wanted to play baseball, so you got to give him some lessons. That's the rule. We're going to have him play baseball. Because those contracts are
crazy,
big money.
Bro. You could sign that contract and never play, and you still make it. I think I screwed up. I could have played D2 baseball out of high school. I should have just played baseball.
Where was that?
In Florida. I can't remember what school. Yeah, it was someone that my grandfathers were friendly with. And he offered me it out of high school. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Naturally, I was a better baseball player than basketball. Basketball, I had to work my ass off to get where I was. Baseball, by the time I was a junior and senior in high school, I was hitting like 4 something. I literally would pick up a bat the first day of baseball. Like, I wouldn't, and then when baseball ended, I wouldn't pick it up. Like, it was just natural. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
you give me a Derek Jeter aura. I
That's
feel
kind
like
of That's kind of how
you.
I played second and short, and I was probably a better pitcher when I was younger. I threw a lot of curveballs. My elbow was all kind of crazy by the time I was in
You
high
throw
school.
some
But
cheese? Were you throwing cheese?
I didn't really throw like crazy hard. No, I probably threw like probably max like low 80s, maybe like high 70s. But I had like a really good mix of like I had a really good curveball and stuff. Shout out to my grandfather Ray Medeiros. He taught me all that stuff. So um yeah, just baseball is just natural. I think once, to be honest with you, I tell people this all the time. Like, I'm glad I played 3 sports in high school. It gives you a balance. I don't believe in just playing one sport. I've seen a lot of kids burn out and not end up playing that sport. So I think the balance of playing 3 sports is really good. And you have to play a different role on a team. Like when I played baseball, I wasn't the best player anymore. Nick Fryer and my buddy Chris Rosa, they were the 2 best players. So I had a different role. When it was basketball, I was the man. When it was soccer, right? I had other kid, like I had to play a different role on a team. So it's a good perspective of how to learn how to play with different people, how to play a different role. But yeah, I don't know. I think why I felt like basketball became my thing was just the atmosphere and the speed of the game and stuff like that. Just really, that's why I fell in love. Baseball is slower, right? More methodical of a game, where basketball is like, it's intense. The crowd's into it. People are, higher energy. So I think that's why I ended up really liking that sport more.
Well, I'm hoping to get my boy involved in both.
Yes, I can help him out. I'll give some points.
Yeah. Yes. And that was my pitch to you right there. I wanted to make sure that you knew when it's time. T-ball. He's a guy. I'm sending him your way. We're sending him to the mass, baby.
Scholarship. We'll do a highlight, slow-mo highlight tape of him swinging off a tee.
And that's how you transition to the next segment of our show, because now as a parent, I'm looking at as every single day as a teaching mechanism for myself to be a parent. So we coach, you coach, I coach at the high school level, you coach at the middle school level. You see and interact with parents every single day. And I tell my girl and I tell my family every single day, I'm learning how to be a parent every single day.
I would say a better line would be every single day I learn how I don't want to parent.
Or yes, exactly.
That's what I see more than ever is I'm like, yep, that's exactly the opposite of what I'm going to do.
And a lot of people, when they say that, when I mentioned that to them, they would tell me, no, that's not how you're going to be. You're too intense of a guy. You're too involved. You're too enthusiastic about the game, where I understand that, but at the same time, I want to make sure my child has the best experience playing a sport at whatever level. So I'm not going to be the father who's going to be at their 8-year-old, tournament saying, shoot, or pass the ball, or put your arm. I'm not going to be that guy. I have made it a point to myself, and my lady knows this too. I made it to a point. Anytime we go to a game, varsity, middle school, we're going to sit in the back. We're going to observe from the back. And then when we get into the car with our son, we're going to leave it up to them to say, hey, if you want to talk about the game, let us know about the game. If you don't, let's go have dinner at home. Let's just be a family, because I don't want the pressure of, I don't want that pressure for a kid at that age, because it's becoming extremely, I'm trying to look for the best word. It's extremely distracting for a high school kid nowadays from either their parents or from the media to perform well. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want that of my child. I want my child to, like I said before, just to have a good experience and to do what they want to do. Like these kids right now, they're striving for highlight tapes. They're playing for 20 points a game, and 16 of those points were cherry pick layups. You know what I'm saying? That's what they want. They want the recognition. They want instant gratification. And that's just something that I'm going to make sure I stay away from as a parent. I'm not going to attack the coaches. I'm not going to bash the coaches at home. I'm going to use sports. I want my child to use sports as a method to dedicate themselves, as a method to be organized, to know about time management, to dedicate and be deliberate with what they want to do. Instead of saying, you know what, the coach doesn't know what they're doing. I'll coach your 10U AAU team and you take all the shots and do all that stuff. So I just want the world to know that if you guys see me coach, I'm intense. But when it comes to my child, I just want them to love the game. I want them to fall in love with the game on their own, you know? So that's my rant.
That was good. No, but I think like you said, being around the situations you've been around, I think it's a good barometer of like, what do you want to be? What do you don't want to be to your kid? Because I see some good parents out there. I see some parents, I don't want to call them bad parents because I guess that's, unfair of me because I don't have my own child. But at least parents, I don't agree with what they're doing to their kid. Yeah. But yeah, I think I see a lot of kids, they have a lot of pressure, and it makes no sense because at least the kids I see, they're in middle school.
It's just a different time, Maddie. I know we sound old and we sound like people who are outdated, but it really is a different time. And I think in five or six of our episodes, we've talked about it. It's social media. It's just social media driven.
100%.
Yeah. And I want to make sure my kid doesn't get involved in that at all because it can hurt a kid's confidence. It can really hurt a kid's confidence. You can make somebody...
When you were a freshman in high school, did you even have a phone? I had a cell phone, but all I could do was call, like for a ride.
Play Snake. Yeah, play Snake.
That's what I'm saying. Nokia brick. Now you got fifth graders at my school. They got Instagram and stuff. They got social media. Why do you need social media in fifth grade? I have no idea, but it's just like you said, it's different. It's just the age of just social media. To me, social media it's like a necessary evil sometimes. Sometimes it's, for a kid, it's good. You get your stuff out there, like you could be talented. But then, like you said, it's just like now everybody's got a mixtape and everybody's in slow-mo. I hate to tell you, just because you put your stuff in slow-mo doesn't mean it's a good move.
Especially the layup lines. The layup
line to any of these dudes out in the AU, the fact that you put layup lines into a highlight tape means you probably don't have that many highlights to pull from.
Yeah. Great point.
There's nobody guarding you.
Nobody cares if you can go behind the back.
In layup lines, it's crazy. I also have a hard time watching AAU highlights just because I'm, me and you, we both hate AAU, but it's just like I'm watching, I'm like, yeah, that was a great move. That guy really, really played some solid defense on that play.
Mm-hmm.
It's brutal, man. It's just, yeah. I don't get it. I don't get it at all, but it is what it is. I think it's just it's a world that we have to live in and
forever. It's not going to change.
Yeah, I just try to see some of the pros of social media in the sense of what it can do to enhance an athlete. But yeah, I would never put a slow-mo video of people in layup lines or like, what I'm saying? Like, I try to tell kids like at my school, because there's some kids I like try to put some highlights together so that I can send it to a secondary school. So maybe a coach has interest in them and wants them to come to their school and play in their program, all that kind of stuff. But like, tell some of the kids, like, I can't make you a highlight tape if you don't have like really good highlights. What am I doing for you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting together some whack highlights and sending it. It's like, then what? You want me to put my name on it, stamp it, and say, yeah, this kid could play basketball? It's like, no, that's not how that works.
You're gonna tarnish my name on top of yours.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I would be honest. I'm just honest with kids and be like, you don't need one.
Yeah,
you got more things to worry about than a highlight tape for high school. Like,
yeah,
that shouldn't even be on your radar. I mean, Christ, my high school coach videotaped over my 40-point game in high school.
Does he listen to the pod? I knew you were going to go down that line.
That pissed me. That's what I'm saying. I tell kids that all the time. I had my college recruiting tape had 3 games from high school. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. That's what I'm saying. Now all these kids, they have every single game. I gotta see kids come out with tapes for mid-season highlights. Mid-season. I had 3 games of my whole high school career on tape.
And your coach recorded it. What did he record over?
He recorded it. So I had a 40-point game, and and the best part was like I hit 3 threes in a row with 2 minutes to go in the game to take the lead, like back possessions.
Was that against Cathedral?
No, Southeastern. It's like Brockton. And he videotaped over of his kid's birthday.
Oh man, that must have been a special birthday. What was it, the Big
Hey,
Five?
listen, happy birthday, but yeah, that game's gone. So
I
it's only a
wonder what his
memory now.
mindset. What was his mindset?
He
Oh,
wasn't
this
even
kid.
thinking probably. He didn't even care. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But that was my point being is that if you're good enough, you don't really need 7 highlight tapes. You know, I get one
Yeah.
to send to college guys that don't see it, but some of these dudes, man, it's just like it's crazy.
And since you mentioned that, I think I also wanted to touch on. I have here in my notes. Obviously, I'm coaching at the high school level, the varsity level, and every single day I try to observe, and every single day I try to pick things from the coach that I work for, Steve Phelps, legendary. But also I try to pick things from the current varsity players uh, at the varsity level. What do you think personally? What do you think are the expectations as a coach that a coach has for a high school varsity player? Because I get extremely upset at things that shouldn't happen if you're a varsity player. And I know there's levels. I know there's a certain amount of talent on each team, but there's just certain things that I expect as a coach that every varsity player should automatically do. Like, for instance, as a varsity player, you shouldn't miss layups. You should not miss layups, right? You should
Probably not.
always play hard. There shouldn't be anyone forcing you to play hard. You know what I'm saying? And those are just two things that I kind of just have on the top of my head. But I find myself dumbfounded when I see kids smoking layups on a set that is designed for you to make an uncontested wide open layup. Forcing kids and begging kids to run the floor hard and to make 2 plays. That's our thing at St. Paul Catholic. We like to make 2 plays. You get a tip on the offensive glass and you think that one tip is enough when you tipped it to the other team and now they're in transition. No, get another tip so you can grab the rebound and go up and score off of a putback. You know what I'm saying? I find myself frustrated because there's standards at high school level. There's standards with certain
Should be.
things, and
Yeah.
right. I mean, can you help me out with this? Am
So
I overreacting?
no, I would say yeah, the layup thing is tough, especially at the high school level. I was gonna break it down kind of like what I tell the kids at my school who are technically on the top team, but again, mostly 8th graders. My expectations to them, right, is like which I'm kind of going off what you were saying about like not like begging kids to play hard. That's I don't coach. I tell my kid I don't coach effort. So if you're not
You
going to play
can't.
hard, no, you're out. And you know, it's like I always believe in this, and I tell the kids this: you can control attitude, energy, effort. Those 3 things to me are non-negotiable. You can control all those 3 things. So if you're not going to do that, you won't play. It's very simple.
Mhm.
And to me, I always preach more because I'm still like I guess I'm living kind of in the old school. It's like I still preach defense. Like if kids on my like I'll literally I was like I'll never take you out for missing a layup because sometimes you can't control that. Sometimes you blow a layup, but if you don't guard somebody or you're not playing team defense, there's a nice seat right next to me. You can sit
Yeah.
on and watch because I think that's kind of what we've gotten away from. Like I watch at the college game, I watch at the high school game, like. No one really, there's not a lot of kids that just really want to play defense. And I don't like I feel like I'm like a dinosaur when I say it. It's just like, I don't know. It's just a mentality of like, it's only about who scores and offense. It's all we're worried about, but you can do basketball is both. Like it's not like you choose. It's not football. You don't just play on offense and that's it.
Great point. Great point.
So I feel like that's what I'll always fight is that if you like, I care way more about what you're doing on the defensive end. Obviously, to me, if you turn over the ball, it's another big thing for me. My emphasis is taking care of the ball on offense, and then defense is like that. To me, defense is all about energy, attitude, effort. Like if you don't have that, then I don't know. I just no matter what level, high school, college, middle school, it's just like. You're probably not going to be a good basketball player. But I would say at your level, if you're begging kids to play hard, that's
Every possession. That's what I meant.
That's
want every
yeah,
possession.
no, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's frustrating. And I find myself just, I find myself doing it where I'm not begging, but I'm kind of just saying, okay, what's your next gear? Like, do you have another gear? I know you have another. Give me that another gear. You're a high school kid. You know what I'm saying? At 16, 17 years old, you shouldn't be like, and I'm not saying you can't be tired, but at 16, 17 years old, if we sit you down because you're not playing hard, when you go back in there, it should never have to be reiterated again. You know what I'm saying? Well, about your effort. And I'm not giving up, or I'm not, I don't want to say just like throwing my hands in the air or anything like that. I find myself just reiterating the same things that shouldn't be reiterated at the varsity level, because for some of these kids, the varsity level is the highest level of competition that they'll ever be in.
Yeah.
They're not going to know once you get to college, because some of them might not go to college.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same, it's different level, but same conversation out with my kids. There's going to be one or two of them that ever play, maybe three if they're lucky. So 3 out of 11 kids that I coach right now probably will play varsity high school basketball at some point. Mm-hmm. That's it. It's when you're in high school, same thing. You might not even have anybody on your team. Like, I mean, I think my brother's basketball team, Westport High School, very talented group. None of them ended up going and playing college basketball. It's just how it is. Now they could have, but they just, some decide not to. But like, for me, I was the only kid that played college basketball out of my senior group. Not other kids played other collegiate sports, but it's just how it goes. Like, not that many go on. So like when you're a senior, junior, high school, like this is your time. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't be like an effort thing. That shouldn't be the issue. Like, if there's a skill deficiency, so be it.
That's one thing. Yeah.
So be it. But I don't know. It's like Gino, the great Gino Oriamo always said, I can't say, I don't want to butcher the quote, but he said, like, at UConn, like, he's like, I don't coach effort.
Yeah.
That's just not, like, I coach good players, so I don't have to worry about coaching effort. Like, that's not something you ever have to worry about. Mm-hmm. And that's true. Like, if you're not going to compete to your highest level, like, why are you even playing the sport? I don't know.
I think he said that about Stewie, because
I think
she was complaining about something, and she wasn't giving the effort, so he sat her, and then he told her that quote. I'm not gonna argue with you. You weren't playing hard, and I told you weren't playing hard. When you get back in there, just
speaking about UConn, they got the dog shit kicked out of them yesterday by Villanova.
Oh, the boys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I've got a random question for you. Give me. I mean, you've been watching college ball. I'll be honest with you. I have not. The only NBA highlights I watch is Russell Westbrook. Is that like? Can we talk about this? I know Russ, your boy.
And he's on my fantasy team. He's not my boy. He's on my fantasy.
You traded for him. Yeah, that's a bad trade in hindsight. But can I ask you a question? Like, when he be shooting that shit like off the top of the backboard and the side of the back, like consistently, this has happened all. Like, is something wrong with him?
I think he really is trying to perfect the 18-footer off the glass, and it's just not working.
Bro, you're an NBA player. You shouldn't be hitting all, like, as Skippy would say, I wouldn't airball in a hurricane. Never mind a 15-footer. I mean, he's like smoking it off the top of the backboard, bro. Like, I don't understand it. Like, it's something got to be wrong with his mental. It's crazy. I mean, it's wild. I've never seen it.
It was against the Knicks too. The Knicks were up 22. The Knicks were up 22 last night.
And transition right to that. What's up with this Julius Randle thing? Like, was that video of him sitting at the end of the bench?
There's a whole bunch of clips. If we're gonna go on the media,
what is that though? Like, I know other guys. Like, he's not the only person I've ever seen the NBA do that, but that is so absurd.
Matty, we paid him the big bucks, right? And now there's a sense of entitlement. This can all intertwine with what I'm talking about of how high school players feel entitled.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They see Julius Randle doing that, being a baby at the end of the bench, not being a good teammate. There was one time Obi Toppin went to the rim, got fouled, was on the floor. He looked at him and then walked away.
No.
You're the captain. You're the person we paid all this. We're the 13th team in the East. the least you can do is be a good teammate, man. You know, and I think it's just
100%.
It's
That's
just
like a
not
culture thing.
Exactly. And Tom Thibodeau was supposed to be the big culture guy.
Well,
and you know what?
then
I don't
you
want to
gotta-
go down
then
that
you-
route, but don't get me started with
Don't
Tom
get me-
Thibodeau, please.
But that's when, but like that's a great point where you talk about like high school kids getting that entitlement. Like you just said, no matter how good of a player you are, like you should always be a good teammate. Or like who, you know what I'm saying? Like I've preached that a lot, is because I've told kids, no matter how good you are, right, in high school, college, right? And I told Jake McElroy this, who I coached at North End, a really good player.
Mhm.
I've always, and I'm honest with you, like 1,000 points, like whatever, you know, I scored 1,000 points. At the end of the day, all the people you play with, or people that watch your games, they'll never sit like those will fade. Those memories will fade about like you being a great player. Like that's great and all, but like the best is when my high school like kids, they talk about like how fun it was playing with me and being my teammate, because that's what it matters the most at the end of the day. When you're 40, 50 years old, like, were you an asshole, or like did guys like playing with you? And I think that's more important. So like I guess this is what the problem with the whole thing is that, like you just said, you see you have a high school kid watch what Julius Randle. That's not normal. That's not like that's crazy to me.
It bothers me. It really does.
That's completely horseshit. Why do you're not, basketball's a team sport. You don't get to just be an individual and sit at the end of the bench.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why the game has changed, man. The game has changed. It's you don't see that at the collegiate level. I think
because coaches would reel you in.
Yeah, they reel you in, but they also know, hey, listen, next year I got a 5-star coming in, so I don't really need you. Even if you are one and done, you're here for 1 year, and I can get another guy come in to play for you. But even the 5-stars who play now, the guys from Duke, the Apollos, and all those guys over there that are playing at a high level, you don't see that from them. They're a part of the group.
Because it's like Zion, when he was there, Zion was a really good teammate. He always talked about the team and all that stuff. He never made it about him, which I respected.
Yeah.
But I guess he ain't really doing that now. Now he's just like fat and not playing.
Oh,
Give me here's a good question. I guess back to my original thing. I've been watching a lot of college hoops, not really NBA.
Yes.
Who's your, as of now, give me your final 4 teams.
Oh man, it's too early to tell because Baylor just got
I know.
I
know they got absolutely destroyed. But I'm saying just like right now, like obviously things change. Like right now, who do you like?
That's a great question.
Because I got mine. You want me to give you mine?
Yes, give me yours and I'll.
Right. I think Auburn is easily a Final Four team. I just like their whole makeup. Obviously, they probably have the projected number 1 pick, but I think Purdue's my other favorite team right now to watch. They just have everything. They just
how you got 2 7-foot bakes that are nice. Basket of baskets.
And the dude Ivory is just electric.
Yeah.
He's got stupid bounce. They have, again, a team that has the makeup of a Final Four team. They got bigs. They can just run their offense. When I watch them play, they run their offense no matter who they're playing with. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't have to change anything.
Yes.
So those 2 are my definite Final Four too. And then I've fluctuated my other picks. Like I have a hard time saying Duke. I just don't. I don't know.
You don't like
they have the talent. I don't know. I will say someone of late, Kentucky's been a team that I'm like they could make that run, because they've had some really good wins on the road, like like going to Kansas and smacking Kansas like they did. It was pretty impressive. Ooh. So I would say they're probably in my top 3. And then I was UCLA, but then I watched UCLA play Arizona. I never had really watched Arizona play. Arizona might be a Final Four team.
They are good. Arizona.
They are very good. Like I was very impressed watching them play, because I haven't watched much of them. I only watched I watched them play UCLA and that was it. And then I've watched maybe
I think there's a kid on there from Canada. His name is Benedict Mathurin.
Yes.
He's tough.
He's good.
Super duper tough.
He's good.
I was watching them in the beginning. They got a brand new coach. I forgot his name. But he's a good coach too. I listened to John Rothstein. You know John Rothstein?
Yeah.
He has a podcast and he's always having coaches on there, and he was on there, and I liked the things that he was saying about his team.
Give me 1 or 2 sleeper teams that could
I
make a
got,
Final
I
Four
got,
run.
I
Well,
got
actually, give me your
two.
Final Four. Give me your Final Four.
All right, so I'm just looking at my list here. I think Duke is
Yeah.
well-rounded. I
Okay.
think they'll get in there. They have size, they got depth,
Yeah.
and I think when they play high-low and they utilize their front line, they got the kid Theo John who went to
Yeah,
Marquette last
he's
year. I think
strong as
that's a
shit.
good guy to come off the bench. He's a
Yeah.
fifth year, come off the
Yeah.
bench and play hard. But Mark Williams is good.
Mhm.
Obviously, Paolo, Trevor Keels is really good. I like that team. And they popped North Carolina yesterday. Here's a team that you may not think is good, but I think they're gonna make a run. It's Marquette.
Okay.
They're
Yeah,
gonna
I
make
watched
a
him.
they're
I
gonna
watched
make
him.
a run.
Watched them smack Villanova the other night. I've watched them a couple times. Obviously, well coached. They got a mass product on there.
Tyler Kolek.
Yep.
He's
And
nice. He's nice.
he is good. He just plays his role. Yeah, but they definitely have some good players that people might be sleeping on. Like they got some good long athletic wings.
I don't think they'll make it to the Final Four, but I can
That's
see
just
an
like a
Elite
sleeper.
Eight. Yeah, I think they're Elite Eight.
Okay.
Sweet 16 type of team.
All right.
Auburn, I got them in my Final Four. So Duke, Auburn, Purdue. I mean, these are all favorite picks. These are all favorite picks.
Yeah, I think the favorite ones to me, mine are at least Auburn and Purdue. Arizona, I think people haven't really watched. Like I didn't watch them until like the other night. And I was like, wow, they're pretty good. I'll give you a couple sleepers though.
Who else?
You want to hear a sleeper pick from me? Illinois.
Yes. Oh, you like Kofi? I think it's
No, you know who I like.
Andre Cabello?
Why?
He's Boricua.
Yeah,
He's from the island.
He's you, bro. He's you. That's why
he's
nice.
He was
bro.
hurt. He was hurt for a while though.
I know, and now he's back. I think they could be a sleeper team. They got some size. They got some good guard play. I think they could be a sleeper. They could be a sleeper. But I like the Marquette. I actually I've watched them a couple times. They are pretty good.
Yeah. I only watch these games because you gave me YouTube TV. So
you're welcome.
Good.
Bless you.
Yeah. Make sure you send the Venmo extra money. I'll send, 10, 15 bucks. My last sleeper team though, and again, sounds really weird, but they're 18-2. Providence. Providence is good.
They've actually played some pretty good games. Yeah.
I think Sweet 16-ish, Elite 8-ish.
I'm very excited for conference tournament. I love conference tournament times.
Yes, I know.
But yeah, it's definitely I've been watching college basketball way more than the NBA. The NBA is just I don't know. I'm losing touch with it. Did you see the call that
the 3-pointer with the Charlotte game?
Can I ask you a question though?
Yes.
This is a problem with all professional sports leagues.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if a player does something really bad or, screws up really bad, like it hurts them, whether it's financially, it hurts them, whether like maybe they get cut from a team, maybe whatever. What is the penalty for that ref?
The one that
he called a shooting. The play was already dead. The guy stepped out of bounds.
That was a Holmes job. Yeah, I know. That was I watched the ending of that.
The dude called it a 3-pointer and gave him a tech.
Yeah, that was
because the guy from out of bounds went and infected the shot, but the play was already dead. Like, bro, I've never seen. I always think I've seen the worst call. That was the worst call I've ever seen in professional sports. So, but like, I just want to know, like, what happens to that ref? Does he get fined? Does he lose a couple nights of reffing? Because like you just say like, oh, they have a tough job, but like that is beyond being like a tough block or charge call. Like that's
a home job.
That is absurd, dude. That is
he went with the aura of the game. He went with the enthusiasm because the game was that last 4 or 5 minute stretch. LaMelo Ball wasn't even playing, but Terry Rozier and Bridges, they were all making. PJ Washington hit 2 big threes. That was a really good ending of the game. And I think he was just going with the flow because the place was jumping. Bro, and then I think was it the play after where Kevin Love got fouled on the rebound? He kind of just grabbed it and his back was turned and then he threw it at the rim. And they weren't in the bonus. They weren't in the bonus. So he threw it at the rim and they made him shoot 2 shots. And he put Kevin Love at the free throw line. It's cash. But Yeah, I don't know what you do. I don't if you're that ref, I probably wouldn't show my face for a little while. That's for sure. Because I never heard of that rule. I've never heard of that rule before.
I mean, that was.
Are you looking it up?
No, I'm looking up this guy's name.
The ref?
No, not
Hopefully
that
he doesn't
guy.
have social media.
But like I'm typing this in, and I guarantee I find this guy's name. Because when I watch, and I'm bringing this guy up, and I don't know.
Donahue?
No. So I guess my point was going to be just talking about officials again is that I watch a game. I found him. I just don't know what his name is. I think his name is Borowski. That makes sense. That is him in this picture. Bro, he is the worst official in college basketball. He does all the Big Ten games. And I guarantee if anybody's a Big Ten fan or listens to this and that knows Big Ten basketball, he's the worst ref. Like, he's a guy that makes the game about him. And it's painful as shit to watch.
What's his name? Let me look
His
at
name
his
is Borowski or something like that. Dude, I'm telling you, you watch a Big Ten game, you'll see him. He's got the little built-in yarmulke on the top of his head.
Oh, he refs with a yarmulke?
No.
Oh, no, I see him. No, I see him.
He got the built-in yarmulke.
I mean, his picture just looks like he's trying to take over the game.
Bro, I'm telling you, he's painful. So I guess it's going back on officials. But, like, I don't know. I really do believe in that. Officiating is a very, very hard job. It's not easy. But when you make an error that's that bad, there has to be some repercussion. Like, I just don't understand that, you know? And you see it in all the sports. I just want to know. I just, like, well, how do you, like, they should be held accountable. They make money.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
So what's your penalty for, like awful officiating? Not like, you know, there's tough calls, block charge, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's a very hard game to ref. I understand that. But when it's that bad, come on, man.
You start asking questions. We're just
doing something wrong. It's like the referees that I have in middle school. Like, oh, you're getting paid. At least run up to half court.
Do you tell them that?
Yes, I'm the one paying you.
I'm not giving you a stipend at the end of the night.
Listen, I don't. I've gotten to the point where I don't even complain really about calls or anything. I'm very on, like, if you're officiating the game, you got to make an effort. Like, you're getting paid. You're not volunteering to ref this game.
Yeah,
getting paid money. You can make it to half court.
Listen, if we wanted to talk about referees, we would need to know a whole nother segment, man. Oh, I'm telling you, I'm one of the first to say that I am not the nicest to referees because of, number one, how inconsistent they are. Yeah. But like you said, there's just no effort. A lot of times we hear conversations before our varsity games where we're just like, all right, let's just get through this one. Like, what do you mean?
Well, you know, you're part of the game. There's a bigger issue too, who is that I've seen it. They're having a really hard time getting officials. Like,
right.
There's some people officiating my games that I'm like, they should have retired 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
10 years ago. Like, they're just too old. Like, they're just really old. Like, you don't see young officials. You don't see young officials. Like, I see like a lot of old guys that, you know, obviously right now doing it for the money, but like, I don't know, man. They just hurt. They're really hurting. They're really hurting. And I think that's across the board.
Yeah. And I wouldn't ever credit a loss to a referee. I never would do that, but we got to get better.
You'd like this one, man.
Who's that?
Like this one. So on this past Monday, we were playing a team, and my team's up probably about 25. Like, the other guy's playing a 1-3-1 zone that's horrific.
Mm-hmm.
And he tried to play this 1-3-1 zone because he thought he could slow down the best player on my team. You probably don't play a 1-3-1 to slow somebody down.
Yeah. If
you want to slow one person down, probably you don't play 1-3-1. That's just my personal preference. Mm-hmm. Probably go like boxing one. I don't know what a crappy 1-3-1. Anyways, we're up 25. He's complaining, and he wants to know what the foul situation is in the book because he thinks he's getting hosed. And I'm like, I looked at him like, and I usually don't say anything, but I just couldn't anymore. I just heard this guy complain the whole game. I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, it's 15-7 in fouls. And I'm like, I looked down, I was like, I'm pretty sure the fouls have nothing to do with what's going on in the game. Like, it's not even a close game. Like, your team has scored I think at this point it was like 45-14 or something like that.
And you played man to man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I preach how to play defense without fouling. Like, his kids were just fouling and he was just complaining. He was really like thinking the refs were hosing him. I'm like, dude, I'm pretty sure the refs have nothing to do with this game.
Yeah.
What do you and then what do you teach your kids though?
Yeah.
That it's the refs' fault that you're losing by 30? No.
There's 1-3-1 didn't work.
Yeah. Maybe reflect on your coaching. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah,
you gotta give credit to the coach, man. He's enthusiastic, Matty. He thought he was getting hosed. No. You were hosing him.
this, dude. The one thing you'll see it like, and I bet I've heard it at the high school level too. Like, I've actually heard kids come back to Pike. We had this alumni event, and I heard kids telling me like, and again, this isn't boosting my own horn or whatever the hell it is.
Pumping your tires.
Pumping my tires. I'm really not, but it's more of a bigger point. Like, they would come back and like really like a couple of the kids I've coached, like 3 or 4 years ago, they were like, they were very appreciative and like saying like I was a really good coach, and like they don't get that anymore at the high school level. Like at where they are, they don't feel like they have that relationship with a coach, or like they don't feel like that, and it's sad.
That's because the chemistry teacher has to grade test after the game.
Correct. And that's what and I guess my biggest point, it's scary that there's just not a lot of good coaches, like at any level, high school, college, mostly probably high school, but even at the level I'm at, like those poor kids that playing the 1-3-1 zone, what are they learning? They're not learning anything. Like you're not teaching them how to play. Like, yeah, it's just, it's kind of sad. It really is sad that the fact that the kids that I used to coach come back and, really saying that really didn't even like make me feel good about myself. I just said it's sad. So I told him, I'm like, it sucks. Like, I wish that wasn't the case. Cause me as a middle school basketball coach really isn't going to have as much of effect that you would think as like a high school coach would. It's longer. You got 4 years with that, person. But, it's just, yeah. I mean, I told them like, hey, it's tough. Like I didn't really have someone to me that was a real coach. So I had Rob Santacola.
Shout out to Rob.
I didn't like, I liked, there was, my high school basketball coach, good dude. Just wasn't at the level that Rob was at. So it's just
levels, like perfect. That's a perfect word.
Yeah.
Levels.
But like, and I guess like, I think the hardest thing is like, from what I was hearing from these kids is that they just don't have a relationship with their coach. They don't feel like the coaches care about them, which is like coaching one-on-one, right? Like I feel like it's just like, it's the basics of relationships. Like if I'm going to be hard, like I'm hard on my kids, but I didn't just start out being like a hard ass.
Yeah.
You have to make sure the kids know you actually care.
Yeah.
And then you push them. And then you push them. And even when you push them hard, you end it with saying that you care about them or whatever. Like,
it's not personal. You always got to tell them that it's not personal.
It's not. But if you don't build that relation, and that's what I heard a lot from those kids was like, and it's kind of sad. I'm just like, because then they're just discouraged and they're like asking me for advice. Like, what do I do? And I'm like, honestly, you just got to, if you want to keep playing, you just got to stick with it and try to find the best in it. But it sucks. Like it sucked to hear that. But I just know the landscape. But you see guys that are coaching. And I'm like, why is this guy? How has this guy got a job?
Yeah, 1,000%. I've been lucky. I mean, my high school coach is very successful, over 800 wins. And going into obviously St. Joe's and being with Rob. But when I transitioned to coaching myself, I was fortunate enough to be with someone who is a prime example of what we're talking about. Somebody who, number one, cares about their players. And number two is doing everything right by their players. So I've experienced bad coaching in the AAU field, and I've seen bad coaches against when we play opponents. But I'm lucky to be a part of a staff now who's been extremely transparent, and also just about basketball, and about their kids, man. So,
and I hope those kids on your team are grateful for that, because that's not.
Well, we try to remind them. Yeah, we try to remind them every day. Like, not a lot of coaches are scouting every opponent. Not a lot of coaches are emphasizing and giving you something that even if you don't play collegiate basketball, you'll be able to take it if you want to take coaching after high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, one thing that we really try to model our program after is playing off of 2 feet. And this is just an example, right? Every single day, Maddie, we do something with playing off of 2 feet. Now, every single game, you can see our kids playing off of 2 feet, reverse pivoting, lift fake, step throughs. I don't see kids, and some kids don't need to, but I don't see kids in the city, playing off of 2 feet. They're, once you gather, I'm trying to dunk on you, or Euro step, doing all that stuff. And, they get upset whenever they're called for a travel, or they get upset when their Euro step puts them behind the backboard and they're trying to throw some bullshit up, and then they're trying to get a foul call. So again, I can go in a, rabbit hole about that stuff. But for me personally, I got very lucky to be in a program like St. Paul Catholic. And I just hope that the basketball culture changes. We need to have more basketball coaches and less chemistry and algebra 2.
And that's what
savants.
I'm saying. And no hate on those people that do, maybe have to coach, that are chemistry teachers, right? Like, maybe they're forced into it. So, respect to them for, like, at least stepping in and doing it. But yes, to your point is, we need more coaches that actually just know how to build relationships. It ain't about you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think a lot of, like you said, a lot of guys walk into a situation like, well, I played this, or I scored. It's like me telling the kids that I coach, like, I'm a 1,000-point scorer. Like, they don't give a crap.
Right.
They know that they'll respect you and understand that basketball just purely off how you treat them and what you do every day, not what you did 10 years ago. Like, that stuff don't matter. You throw all that out the window. It's, can you build a relationship, and can you find how you get to each kid? Because each kid is different. Some kids you can't be as hard on, right? Some kids respond to different things.
That's a great point. That's a great way to end the segment. Basketball put us together. Basketball did a lot for basketball did a lot for us, and everything that we do, I feel personally, is because of basketball. Every 100%. Relationship that I kind of have is because of basketball and how I treated people, and I just look to keep the train going with little V. With little V, baby. Next week, though, we got some good guests. We got a couple in mind. We won't put it out there in the forefront, but for those who are listening, you can check out Maddie's page on Twitter, because now I think we're gonna have to build a new page, Maddie. But if you follow Matt and Harris,
that's why I put
Twitter. You can follow us on all our podcast platforms. So that's Apple Music and Spotify and all the good stuff. Yeah, especially the 2 main ones. And we look to be more consistent as the season winds down for both of us. It's February 6th. But the goal is 100 episodes. 100 episodes, baby. That's the goal. Maddie, it's always a pleasure talking to you, brother.
Always.
Hey, just stay true to yourself. And if nobody wanna help you, you can do it yourself. And if you live and impress others, it's how you losing yourself. And if you keep on running back, you just abusing yourself. Damn. I pray to God that you find your way. And when times is good, don't forget to pray. And be thankful for all the blessings that seem to come your way, cause that's how more come to you. That's all I had to say.